Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome back, or welcome if you are new. I hope you're having a fantastic day. In this video, I want to share an in-depth post-burn review of HomeWorx Cherry Pie. Cherry Pie is actually a part of the recent Party in the USA collection that launched over at Rakuten & Co., so the Rakuten & Co. website. But they also launched this particular collection over at QVC in sets of 2. If you purchase from QVC, you are going to get 2 of the same candles in the box. But if you purchase over at Rakuten & Co., you can purchase singles and you can kind of mix and match whichever fragrances you are interested in from the collection. So I will have Cherry Pie linked at Rakuten & Co. with my discount code that you can use to save 15% off of your purchase of $40 or more. I will also have it linked over at QVC in the sets of 2. So check out the description box if you're interested in purchasing this one. But without further ado, let's dive into Cherry Pie. Turns out this is a little bit of a cherry pie kind of day on my channel because a little bit earlier I shared my in-depth review of Kringle Cherry Pie. Now, the Kringle Cherry Pie has not yet launched on the Kringle website. It is launching over there on May 22nd. If you want to check out my thoughts regarding the Kringle Cherry Pie, I'll have that linked in the description box as well. And I will do a little bit of a comparison between the 2 candles in case you are trying to decide which one you want. So I will address the differences between the 2 candles as well. As always, I want to start out with reading through the scent story as well as the top, middle, and base notes. I'll then tell you what I actually smell in the fragrance myself. Then we'll go ahead and go straight into the strength and throw, and then of course address any burn issues that may have popped up. So let's go ahead and get started by reading through the scent story first. The scent story reads, "Bring all American fun to any space with Cherry Pie. This fruit-filled candle bursts with ripe cherries layered on a graham cracker crust, sprinkled with sparkling sugar and topped with whipped vanilla cream. Sure to have you loving the perfect bite of pie in every burn." All right, so the fragrance notes are ripe summer cherries, sparkling sugar, whipped vanilla cream, and graham cracker crust. Now, in terms of the top, middle, and base notes, they have things kind of separated a little bit more. So at the top, we have the summer cherries, the sparkling sugar, and the sheer citrus. At the middle notes, we have raspberry juice, ripe strawberry, and whipped coconut. And at the bottom, we have warm graham cracker, vanilla bean, and butter accord. So what do I actually smell in here? Okay, when it comes to this being a cherry pie, I do think this has a delicious cherry filling. I really do smell a lovely mix of definitely some cherry as well as a little bit of that strawberry that's mentioned in the middle notes. It definitely has a little something besides just the straight up midsummer cherry note. The cherry is very juicy. It's very sweet. It's a nice cherry note, but there's definitely some strawberry in there for sure. I don't actually smell the raspberry, and I don't get any of the reference to the sheer citrus at all. So when it comes to the fruit notes here, it is predominantly cherry with just a hint of strawberry. That's what I get. Now, what I found really interesting about this particular fragrance is that instead of having just a regular flaky buttery crust type note, They decided to go with a graham cracker crust type of situation. And I have to admit, first of all, I don't smell any graham cracker, but I've never actually had a cherry pie that has not had a traditional pie crust. I've had like a cherry crumble, you know, that has had like a different type of topping, and that's delicious, but I have never had a graham cracker crust when it comes to a cherry pie. I would love to know if that is the norm for you. It's not the norm for me. And honestly, I feel like what this fragrance is missing to make it a true cherry pie fragrance, it's missing that crust note, you guys. So I don't even smell the graham cracker reference here. I mostly am getting that fruity filling. And that part of it is nice. Like it's actually really delicious. And I would personally probably repurchase this as just more of a straight up cherry type of fragrance. It's yummy in that respect, but I don't think of this as cherry pie. If you're looking for more of a true actual cherry pie, I would actually probably recommend waiting for the Kringle cherry pie release. That one does have a true buttery flaky crust note. But in terms of the filling, I think either does a really good job with that cherry pie filling. Obviously with the HomeWorx one here, you're getting that little bit of strawberry in there, but I think it kind of amps up the deliciousness, so I don't mind that. I think it's actually pretty great, but it's not a cherry pie, which makes it a little bit of a letdown for me personally, if I'm gonna be completely honest. I think that HomeWorx, because they typically tend to do gourmands quite well, could probably create a crust note pretty easily. And I'm not sure why they didn't opt for that here. I think this fragrance would go over with a lot more people if it had that actual crust note, but I just don't get that. Now, you might pick up the graham cracker crust note, but I didn't. So for me, this is mostly a cherry pie filling type of scent. Not bad, but not cherry pie. Anyway, let's go ahead and dig into the Strength and Throw next. In terms of the Strength and Throw here, this is one of those HomeWorx candles that started out pretty solid in terms of the strength and the throw. I would put the initial like first 2 or 3 burns at probably a 7 in terms of strength and just about a 7 in terms of throw as well. It was certainly filling, I would say, the bulk of the downstairs of my house. A lovely scent, very noticeable, not anything that was subtle. But what I have noticed is that now that I'm at the halfway point, it seems to be waning a little bit in terms of strength and throw. I would put the strength of this one at this point at more of a solid 6. Still noticeable, still something that I can very easily pick out and enjoy when I walk into the room where it's burning, but it's not as potent anymore. So it seems to be petering out quite quickly. I hope that the remainder last half here at least continues to give me the 6 in terms of strength and throw. If it wanes any further, I might put the last little bit of it underneath one of my candle lamps. I find that sometimes my HomeWorx candles that don't give me much in the way of strength and throw when they're lit, sometimes they actually perform a little bit better underneath my lamps. So I do use the 50 watt lamps that have the adjustable arm on them so that I can get the bulb really close to the wax layer so that I get the most in terms of strength and throw. I will go ahead and put a link to a really great option for a candle lamp that works well with HomeWorx in the description box. Candle lamps are pretty easy to find nowadays. I'm actually coming across a lot of them when I am looking around Marshall's, Home Goods, and TJ Maxx as of late. The thing that you want to be careful of is making sure that you are getting a 50-watt warmer and not anything less than that, because if you go down in wattage, it's really going to limit the amount of fragrance that you're going to get out of your wax, if that makes sense. Anyway, so in terms of strength and throw, this one is starting to wane a little bit on me, and because of that, I would definitely consider that a little bit of a disappointment. Usually I get my HomeWorx candles to be mostly consistent until I get to almost the very last burn. So the fact that this one is fading a little bit early is a little bit of a disappointment for me. However, in terms of the overall burn quality, I don't really have any complaints there. I'm not having any issues with the wicks. They do tend to get pretty long with each burn. I've been burning this candle for just about 3.5 hours at a time. I trim the wicks by half each time that I go to light the candle, and that has done quite well for me. No discoloration in the wax, no sooting. My wicks aren't keeling over. I don't really have any complaints in terms of that. I just wish that the strength and throw was a little bit more consistent from the get-go to this point. So, all right, let's go ahead and take that overhead look here so that you guys can see. I did just light this right before filming this video, so it has not fully pulled out. But this does give you a pretty good opportunity to see that this has pulled out each burn. There is just that little tiny bit of wax that seems to be clinging to the edges, but it is moving down with the remainder of the wax pool. You can see that as I have been burning this candle, there have been some of those carbon balls or mushroom tops that have fallen from the tops of the wicks here into the wax. I haven't bothered fishing them out, but I do hate the way that looks. So I might go ahead and fish those out when I'm done with this burn here. But yeah, for what it's worth, that is your overhead shot, and those are my official thoughts on HomeWorx Cherry Pie. I would say if you are looking for a more authentic cherry pie experience, I would maybe think about grabbing the Kringle cherry pie. Like I said, I just reviewed that one this morning, so I will have that review linked in the description box. Take a look at that. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you picked up cherry pie and what your experience is with it in the comments down below. I appreciate you guys being here today for these in-depth candle reviews. Subscribe if you are new, share this video with your candle loving friends, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Toodaloo.